Hello guys, welcome to the lecture 56 of deep learning series. In this video, we'll be discussing about another interesting topic, that is pre-trained models. Now, before getting into this pre-trained models, first let us see why actually this pre-trained models came into existence. Okay, there are two main reasons for this. The very first reason is, now let us say as a student or individual, I want to build a complex CNN architecture or train a complex CNN architecture. Now, in this case, I'll be requiring more amount of training data. Why more amount of training data? Because I'll be having more number of convolution layers, right? So more number of convolution layers correspond to more amount of train data. No, more amount of train data corresponds to more computational resources. Okay, computational resources are nothing but more GPUs. Okay, basically more GPUs. Now if I'm working in any organization or if I'm working in any company, definitely for that particular use case they'll be giving me the necessary amount of GPUs. But as a student, if I want to build an individual project, I'll be definitely not having this number of GPUs. Okay, definitely I'll be not having the number of GPUs. So what I'll be doing, I'll be just adjusting the entire training process in the available number of computational resources. So due to that, the train time definitely will be increased. Okay, this is the first main reason. Okay, that is training and complex CNN architecture from the very scratch is time consuming, that is time taking. Okay, train time will be definitely increased. And the second reason is, now let us say I have a convolution architecture. Let's say this is my convolution architecture. Now in this particular convolution architecture, the initial layers are used to extract edges and the later layers are used to extract textures and the final layers are used to extract objects. Right, now let's say I have a digit 8. Now in this particular digit 8, these fine lines are called the edges and these curves are called textures, and these circles, okay, as 8 is made up of two circles, these particular circles are called objects. Okay, so in this way, in a hierarchical manner, the entire CNN model extract all the features. Right, now if you keenly observe, this edges and few of the textures are called global features. Okay, why are they called global features is, now if you take any object in the world, okay, if you take any object in the world, that is, it may be a car, it may be a dog, it may be a cat, it may be a chair, it may be a laptop, it may be a phone. So if you take any object in the world, the edges and textures are the same. Okay, are the same. Okay, remember this point. If you take any object in the world, the edges and few of the textures are same to any object in the world. Okay, now you may have a doubt that as these edges and textures are same to any object, then why are we building different CNN models? Okay, why are we building different CNN models to solve different use cases? Okay, so this doubt you may have, right? Okay, so this is the second point, that is building unnecessary, okay, train different models, okay, train different models to solve different use cases even after having all the edges, okay, all the initial features as the same. Okay, so due to this, what happens, the training time will be increased and unnecessary computational resources usage, and also yeah, that's it. Okay, unnecessary training, okay, unnecessary train time will be increased, and also unnecessary use of the computational resources. Okay, so these are the two main points that led to the foundation of pre-trained models. Okay, now here after listening to these 2 points, now you may have a solution, right? Okay, what is that particular solution? Now let us say I have built an two different models, that is, one is to classify different dog breeds and another is to classify different cat breeds. Okay, here I'll be training this particular model on different dog breeds dataset, and here I'll be training this particular model on different cat breeds dataset. Okay, now here these are my initial features. Okay, these are my initial features. Now in this particular model, okay, in this particular model, the initial edges, okay, these are my edges, the initial edges of both these models are the same, and initial textures of both these models are the same. Okay, now after listening to this, what you may have, instead of using this particular model, okay, instead of using this model, I may use this particular model even to classify the cat images as well. Okay, but there is a catch over here. Okay, here only the edges and textures are the same, but the final objects are different. Okay, here this model has never seen any cat image. Okay, this particular model has only seen the dog image but has never seen the cat image, so it won't be able to classify the cat images. Okay, so now to solve this particular problem comes the ImageNet dataset. Okay, comes the ImageNet dataset, and which is also the foundation to pre-trained models. Next, we will be seeing what is this particular ImageNet dataset and how it has become the foundation to pre-trained models. Now let us discuss about this particular ImageNet dataset in detail. Now this ImageNet dataset is a visual dataset. Visual dataset means it contains all the images, okay, all the images of various objects, okay, various objects in the world. Now let's say it may be a dog, it may be cat, it may be a car, it may be a chair, it may be a sofa. So it contains various images, okay, it contains various images. That images count is around 14 million, okay, there are 14 million images and also 1.2 million labeled images, okay. The labels are also organized in such a way that now let's say there is an image of a cat, okay, this is the image of a cat and the cat is white colored, okay. So the scientists name this particular image as white cat, okay, they given the label as white cat. So they have not only concentrated on the quantity but also quality of that particular dataset, okay. This is entire the ImageNet dataset. Now after creation of this particular ImageNet dataset, after few years, okay, after few years, the scientists started to organize an competition on this particular ImageNet dataset, which led to the stepping stone of pre-trained models, okay, which led to stepping stone to pre-trained models, that is ILSRVC. Now let us see what is this particular competition. Okay, so this is our ILSRVC competition, that is ImageNet Large Scale Visual Recognition Challenge. Now what scientists plan in this particular challenge is they have taken this particular ImageNet dataset and they have created an subset, okay, they have created an subset of this particular ImageNet dataset which contain around 1 million images and also 10,000 classes. Now the people who participate in this particular challenge should pick this particular subset, okay, should pick this particular dataset and train and model, okay, train and model, whether it may be a machine learning model and also it may be a deep learning model, okay. You take any model, you need to train on this particular dataset and show the results, okay, showcase your results. Now whose error rate, okay, whose error rate is much lesser wins the competition, okay. Now till 2011, okay, till 2011 the models that participated in this competition are machine learning models, okay. In 2011 the winner of this particular competition was a machine learning model, okay, is a machine learning model which produced an error rate of 28%. Means out of 100 images, okay, out of 100 classifications only 28%, okay, 28 images are misclassified, okay, out of 100 images classified 28 images are misclassified. Now in 2011 it came down to 25%, means out of 100 images 25 images are misclassified. Now in 2012, okay, in 2012 laid the stepping stone, that is alexnet model, okay. This particular model entirely changed the deep learning era, okay. Till then deep learning was not much used in case of computer vision, but when alexnet model won this particular competition, the entire roots of computer vision has changed. Now this AlexNet produced 16% error rate, okay, it produced just 16% error rate, and this AlexNet model is an first deep learning model to participate in this particular competition, and for the first time and deep learning model has won this particular competition, okay. This AlexNet was entirely a neural network architecture, that is it has all the convolutional neural networks, and also it was firstly, okay, it was trained on GPUs, okay, it's the first model that was trained on GPU, and also it contained ReLU activation function and also dropout labs, okay. So this is our AlexNet model. Now this AlexNet model is the very first model to win this particular competition, that is in 2012 with an error rate of 16%. Now the later years, okay, now from the later years the people started, okay, the people started to develop new deep learning models and started to participate in this competition, and the error rate came down to less than around less than 5%, okay, around 3.5%, I guess, okay, around 3.5% error rate was produced finally, okay. So this is our ImageNet large scale visual recognition challenge. Now this particular challenge has laid a stepping stone to our pre-trained model. Now this particular AlexNet model is also an very first pre-trained model. Now in the next parts of the video we will be discussing various pre-trained models. Now let us see different pre-trained models, okay. Among them the very first model is AlexNet model, okay. I have already explained about this AlexNet model. It is a model that has won 2012 ILSRVC competition, which is an CNN based architecture, and it is an architecture which is trained on GPU for the very first time. It uses 227 cross 227 cross 3 as an input image size. Okay, this is about alexnet architecture. So this is the first basic architecture. Okay, first basic pre-trained model. Okay, now from here next people started to develop much better architectures. Okay, so the second comes our VGG16 architecture. Okay, the name suggests 16. Okay, this 16 means there are total of 16 layers. Okay, there are total of 16 layers. Among these 16 layers there are 13 convolution layers and rest of the 3 are fully connected layers. Okay, the input image size is 224 cross 224 cross 3. Okay, this is the input size and it uses total of 16 convolution layers. Okay, now if you see from alexnet to VGG16 architectures, the number of convolution layers have been increased. Okay, the total number of layers have been increased. Okay, so why this has been done is this VGG16 architecture wants to prove that as the total number of layers in the architecture increases, it produces better error rate. Okay, it produces much lesser error rate. Okay, this is the point that is proved by VGG16. Okay, now from this point, okay, from this architecture, the next architecture, okay, the next architectures developed from this architectures used much deeper architecture. Okay, much deeper models. Okay, where much deeper models which use more number of convolution layers. Okay, now the next model that comes is resnet 50. Okay, this resnet 50 is an architecture that use 50. Okay, that use 50 layers. Okay, total number of 50 layers, and you see that this name suggests res means residual connections. Okay, this model consisted of residual connections. Okay, now here you can see that this is a direct connection. Okay, there is a direct connection and also there is a residual connection over here. Why these residual connections are used is to prevent overfitting. Okay, to prevent overfitting and also to prevent vanishing gradient problem. Okay, now previously when VGG16 has won the competition, okay, has won the competition, from then the next architectures use much deeper models. Okay, were much deeper models. Now when people started to develop these much deeper models, they face the problem of vanishing gradient. Okay, they face the problem of vanishing gradient. Now to solve this particular vanishing gradient problem, the architecture that came is resnet 50. Okay, this resnet 50 used residual connections. Okay, now how this residual connection helps in this preventing this vanishing gradient problems is, you can see that the connection, okay, the connection from here, okay, the input image is directly connected. Okay, the information from the first convolution layer is directly become an input to the next layer output. Okay, next layer output. So in this way information gets added. Okay, in this way the information gets added through a residual manner. Okay, through this residual connection. So in this way the initial information is not lost. Okay, so in this way initial information is not lost. So this residual resnet 50 has prevented this vanishing gradient problem. And the next architecture that comes is inception v3. Now if you take an image, okay, if you take an image, we'll be having various objects. Okay, we'll be having various objects, right? Now among these various objects, we'll be having some objects as very bigger and some objects as very smaller. Now on different objects, if you use same filter size, okay, same filter size, these filters may not be able to detect this particular objects. Okay, this particular smaller objects. So what scientists have thought is, for larger objects we'll be using some bigger filter size, and for smaller objects, okay, to detect the smaller objects we'll be using smaller filter sizes. So what they have done is, they have taken an image and they have used various filters. Okay, in the same convolution layer they have used various filters. Okay, let's say the first is 3 cross 3 and second is 2 cross 2 and third is 1 cross 1. So in this way this 3 cross 3 detects the larger objects and 2 cross 2 detects some slightly smaller objects and 1 cross 1 detects very small objects. Okay, very tiny objects in an image. So from this we'll be getting an resultant feature map, from this we'll be getting an resultant feature map, and from this we'll be getting an resultant feature map at the end. Okay, at the end these three feature maps are combined. Okay, these three feature maps are combined and this is the resultant feature map that goes into the further layers. Now here you may have a doubt that when I use 3 cross 3 as my filter size, I'll be getting slightly smaller one, and when I use 1 cross 1 as my filter size, I'll be getting an filter, I'll be getting some larger feature map. Now how can we combine this different filter feature maps? Okay, so this is the doubt that you may get, but how we'll be combining is, we'll be just padding. Okay, we'll be just padding around this. Okay, when 3x3 feature map is smaller, we'll be just combining zeros around this, and we'll be just combining these particular feature maps. Okay, so in this way Inception v3 has solved the problem of detecting the smaller objects in the images. And next we have mobilenet v2 and efficientnet architectures. This efficientnet architecture is an architecture which has very minute error rate. Okay, very minute error rate, and which produced better results till now. Okay, which has produced better results till now. Now this mobilenet v2 is an architecture that can be used on edge devices. Okay, so it's a lightweight architecture which can be used on edge devices. Okay, so next we have our efficientnet architecture. This efficientnet architecture used very few parameters, okay, very few trainable parameters, and also produce better results. Okay, this proved that by using very few trainable parameters we'll be getting better results. Okay, now if you want about any of these architectures, you can comment down in the comment section. I'll be definitely making a video about this. So but knowing about this architectures in detail is not much necessary, so you just need to know the implementation. Okay, most of the time this efficient architecture solves the entire problem. Okay, just what you need to do is you just need to pick up this architecture and just provide your training data. Okay, just few training samples and provide your test images. Okay, automatically you will be getting and better results. Okay, with minute training, okay, with very minute training you will be getting better results. Why? Because this efficientnet architecture has already seen various images. Okay, as it is trained on ImageNet dataset, it has seen various objects, so that is why it need not retrain again. So just if you provide very few images, okay, very few training images and very few test images, you'll be getting better results automatically. Okay, so this is how you use your architecture. Okay, you use pre-trained models and achieve better accuracy instead of training any CNN architecture from code. Okay, so from next time if you are trying to do any of the project, you just need to pick up any of these architectures. Okay, just pick up any of the architectures. Now sometimes efficientnet may give better results, sometimes mobilenet v2 may give better results. So try out different architectures and just check which architecture provides you better results, then go with that particular architecture. Okay, so now for the code, I'll be providing the code in the description. Okay, I have not yet run this particular code. I'll be providing the entire code in the description. What you need to do is just run this particular code and just compare the results. Okay, I'm just using MNIST dataset for this particular comparison purpose. Okay, I'm just using different models and comparing the results with MNIST dataset. Okay, now you may have a doubt that do I need to build this models, pre-trained models from core? No, the answer is no. You will be having torch vision library. Okay, in torch vision library, if you import models, in this model section you'll be having various pre-trained models. Okay, I'll be just showing you. You can see that models.alexnet, you'll be using alexnet architecture, and models.vgg16 and models.resnet50. So in this way, in this models you'll be having various architectures. Okay, various pre-trained models. You just need to import them and use according to your use case. Okay, so this is the entire video. I'll be providing the entire code in the description. Just check that out. Hope you guys like this video. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.